maybe later. Or maybe now! Why not? This installment of the series is, as you can see, psycho-political drama Phylomortis II Triumvirate of Dystopia, New Adventure, Load Record, End Adventure, copyright 2000 to 2001 RPG Advocate. Yes. Now, audience, you might be saying, Mr. X, that title seems a bit pretentious. Let's just start the game. What? What? Mature audiences? What? Oh well, sorry gang. I guess we can't do this one. Okay, now keep your voices down. I think maybe if we sneak round to the back, if we sneak in through the side and then scuttle up to the back, we might be able to get in without being noticed. Okay? Right. Follow my lead. A small to medium region of human occupation that to some small extent circumscribes the predominant such areas in some region of the world, this village being called Ratagal.
There's fighting in the world, and because of this, it's the exact last thing anybody would expect to happen, apparently, that the Phylomortis would take place in a village called Ratagal, which is a village based in some place with some overly complicated tower casting a shadow on it, as if it was trying to protect it. There's two ponces in the centre of the screen here that want to have a talk about stuff that happened in the past, right? But they weren't aware of the fact that the little chat was going to be about something that was happening right now. Not for believing. This is like when you have a sudden, profound realisation of something. Specifically, realising that the world's more complicated than what it looks like on the surface. But how did I... This thing what happened is quite surprising. I can read your mind, mate, but your speech is less than readable. Should get some elocution lessons.
An original epic by RPG Advocate. The region of land-based surface upon which a certain establishment dedicated to the purpose of protecting lordly personages and the villagers who are domiciled in their protectorate from outside forces is the state of play in which we find the article under consideration, that being the medium to large region of human dwelling known as Jakade.
The Phylomortis, which I'm not going to bother to explain, caused certain genetic objects that the author of the game also doesn't feel the need to explain, that had been asleep for a long time. Alright, fine. An intron, by the way, is a non-coding segment in a length of DNA that interrupts a gene-coding sequence or non-translated sequence, the corresponding segment being removed from the RNA copy before transcription. So aye, makes sense now, doesn't it? So basically, when your genes go about copying each other, these introns are shoved in there with that DNA lot to break them up a bit, like, keep things a bit fresh. And then when the genes get copied, these introns just get shoved into the bin. Along with the out-of-date ingans and bananas. So aye, the Phylomortis made that happen. The introns that didn't get copied over somehow woke up despite no being copied, and the result of this was that a lot of living things like got mutated into different creatures. Aye, transformed into a whole bunch of pre-existing animals, like what already exists, because that's how DNA works. Instead of maybe just like making one of their fingernails 0.5 millimetre shorter or something. Some of the humans that got transformed were still humans, but the way that they thought about things like was like not humans. It's like something from the outer space. In some countries that satisfied the author of this game's political opinions, the people with the Phylomortis and the people that didn't hold it like both got on just nice and dandy like, right mate? Although there was a wee bit of stuff under the surface that they didn't like to talk about.
The language of programmation with which psychopolitical drama Phylomortis II, Triumvirate of Dystopia, copyright 2000 to 2001 RPG Advocate, in its inaugural form, created by a company known as SK, which for some reason or another shares the same letters as the American Standard Code for Information Interchange. The cavernous regions... I can't be bothered with this nonsense anymore. The dark pits of innocence.
In contrast to what I described previously, the class system in the countries what didn't have the political system that the author of this game likes was much more heavy, like Sibelius himself. They twerps what didn't get good stuff out of that Phylomortis, like, became lower class and got forced to be slaves and stuff. Like what, not good? Aye, they ones what ended up inferior out of the Phylomortis, unlike that big rocks man over there, or that puddly slime in the middle. Clearly the more superior life forms. Oh, I'm sorry mate, did I say at some point that you could work slower? No, go back to being the same speed you were before, you idiot!
Translation by Don Miguel. Mountain pass north of Cyprin.
That was certainly an animation. So there was these, like, groups that didn't get on well, right? And that Phylomortis caused the resentments that they'd had for a long time to get even worse. And a war started, man! These groups brought on the supermen. These groups hauled out the big guns. The people that had been the people that had become all powerful, like, because of that Phylomortis, got brought in and they went and fight the other one. And man, the wars that happened after that made everything even worse. Just the kind of situation where all these stupid politicians can go about doing bad things, because they're bad. Politicians are bad.
There's a bunch of places the music came from, I suppose. Miniver Conference Hall.
The Miniver Convention Hall, you English idiot!
But excuse me, I'm just reading what the title said.
Aye, that hall was a building you wouldn't look twice at, really, because look at it, it's pathetic. Was out the back of that capital of Yatari called Miniver. Kind of name is that, anyway. It doesn't speak much, so you wouldn't have guessed that it's got a lot of, like, special history in that. A pretty uninteresting events happening today in that place. These idiots that pods about with psychic powers and all that, having a good laugh there, aye. Getting themselves a wee bit tipsy, like, at the special event dedicated for the sole purpose of talking about plants. Sounds exciting as anything. I can't wait. Sign me up. 4 years ago, the genes in people's bodies, like, made them look like normal people. But, like, after 4 years, they started transforming into animals and stuff, like what I was telling you about earlier, since anybody could remember. And now the story's about to take place. Like, a play where serious stuff happens that concerns both your mind and politics at the same time. There's a government that's made up of 3 separate powers. What's no the best it could be, man? This isn't looking good at all. Let's get to that conference centre at once. Right, welcome you psychic podses. This is the 4th plants event, and we want to advance the study of plants. Plant psychic powers. We're going to talk about our minds and the natural world being united in a perfect manner. Both out in the wilderness wildwinds and us civilised ponces in here. What better way to unite savage tooth and claw rage and civilization than inside a square building, sitting at desks, talking about plants? I'm happy to tell you that this year, we managed to get a special person to come. Aronson. He's really good at telling people bad things in a sympathetic way, and saying stuff that sounds intelligent but doesn't really mean anything at all. In some place called Cyprin that's got a prince but no king, because they're a bunch of ponces that don't like kings. And he's the best psychic singing person in the whole of Cyprin. In the last year, Aronson has kept working without getting tired in order to make sure that his stupid podsy upper class musical composition is the best it could be, so that a bunch of crops will keep growing better, despite them turning into tigers and lions and stuff for that Phylomortis. And it might even make it easier to harvest new crops as well. Aye, well, anyway, Anson's going to be here soon, like, so keep your pants on. But in the meantime, feel free to have yourself some toast and drinks as well at the courtyard that doesn't actually exist if you explored the whole place. Hey there, Sir Aronson, you've been knighted even though you don't have a king, as we've discussed earlier. Well, like every time you come here, I'm going to have to check you are who you are before you come in, even though I just told you who you are. I trust you, even though I'm going to do this thing that implies I don't trust you. Ever since our little plant festival started, there's been some terrorists have been making threats, so we can't take any chances, including you. Alright, now then, take the sign that shows what kind of psychic person you are, like, only you've got, and get to that wee ball of fire over on the right there, while standing completely still. Aye, that's all sugar and dandy like. Alright then, time to register these two ponces on your left and right. Geez their names like. I'll do that same thing with them as I just did with you. Aye, dey bothered, kid. That's my son over there, his name's Lehain, and these two ponces that you described it are guards, and they're going to be my guards. They've got stupid names, and by the way, they are going to kill people if they try to kill me. I mentioned what they were before coming here, because that's what you're supposed to do around these parts. Ah, you got that right, mate. You never leave anything out when you prepare things. Right, come on in then. I am glad you said that. And now, because I'm an amusing and not at all offensive gay stereotype, I'm going to see if I can get a random strong man to fall in love with me. Because that's what gay people do. Honestly, Dad, I wish you'd be less embarrassing. In case you hadn't noticed, this is the special plant event, and some of these ponces might not appreciate your kinds of advances. Unlike the Cyprian lot, what's the place we're from. Mind you, nobody fancies you anyway. Wait, how am I even your son? This doesn't make any sense. Aye, well, rest assured that I'm going to be fine this time. I tapped some wood somewhere with my fist, so that I'll be lucky. In fact, I did it 4 times. Aye, so there's no bother. Aye, well, whatever. I'm feeling less than pleased at the moment. So let's just get all this Ponson plant nonsense over with before I feel even more annoyed. Botanical Symposia 1F. That fake lot of fire-eating ponces doesn't have a clue what it takes to eat fire like me. Besides, who but me gets their energy from fire? Aye, that's right, nobody. That's what I thought. How do I speak when I'm just fire? Eh, lower class bumpkins. That place with water in it in Miniver City, which is what this building's in, gave me the sack cause I wasn't making the waves good enough. Oh, does that no grind your bananas? Are you expecting some kind of food and drink from me as well? I mean, look at me. I'm just a blue woman. Well, that was all fascinating, but now we can actually do something. Here's our heroes. Obviously the hero, Aronson at the top there. Aronson the legate, which is a fancy word for... Actually, let me just check what that's a fancy word for. Because I don't know what legate means. Why is there a word for throw out of a window in dictionary.com? Why does defenestrate exist? Always puzzled me. A diplomatic agent, or messenger, or representative. Not sure what he represents exactly, but according to dictionary.com, the first most prominent definition of legate is a representative of the Pope. So Aronson here represents the Pope. Bet you never would have guessed that. And at level 20 there, he is most clearly the main character of this game. Certainly not his son Lehain. What kind of name is Lehain? Ugh. Lehain? That's just a painful name to say. I mean, no offence, Lehain. Aye, none taken, Mr. X. Yeah, Aronson and those two guards with the exact same status parameters as each other
they even said a word? They said 3 dots at some point. No, actually they said 3 sets of 3 dots. They said 9 dots, which is Phylomortis II's rather bizarre way of representing silence. Would the 3 dots not suffice? I guess, as with everything else in this game, you've got to have some overly complicated way of expressing everything. Aronson has an antiquated harp. Aronson has a outdated harp, basically. A shirt that's got frills, which means... What does frill mean? I'm not even sure. A trimming as a strip of cloth or lace gathered at one edge and left loose at the other. Ruffle. Alright, he's got a ruffled shirt. Frill means ruffle. Great stuff, Aronson. And a stupid looking French hat that's velvety. Worn by nobility. Lehain is the son of what's-his-face, who uses a shillelagh, which is an Irish knife of some form, a robe made of moss, and a bloomin' fuzzy felt hat. Great stuff, Lehain, you've sure got some fashion sense there. My father buys all my clothes, you see. Kieran Connor have the same stats as I described, but they can't unequip the overly fancy French-named armour and the blade and the swords that were used by certain Roman generals. Misspelled cuirass, which is a fancy armour, also called a corselet, which is for the torso, a defensive armour for the torso comprising a breastplate and backplate originally made of leather. So, somehow Aronson beats them out in defence with his ruffled jumper. Aronson's got some musical themed attacks. Don't know why he's so musically inclined, but he is. All of them cost 0 out of his strangely 200 FT there. FT, what is that? Oh, we'll find out later, gang. He's got 3 skills. The first one there, multiple different sounds that don't like to do things. Very quiet, boring sounds. There is a ending to a song that is defined in relation to some other entity, such as a parsnip. And we got a most overly loud noise that pertains to light and shadow being cast on objects. Lehain, meanwhile, has none of his father's musical abilities, just got some mossy balm that heals him a bit. We've got a fancy healing item, and we've got a special options menu. Well, look at that, isn't that nice? This is quite an early RPG Maker game, quite a well-designed menu system here. But what's this? Difficulty to easy. Extra hints? Get stuffed, game. Mr. X does not play in anything but the hardest possible mode. Got some of the meaningless statistics that RPG Maker games really loved to program in for some reason. Oh gee, I'm sure excited to know that I fought in 65 battles and played for 50 minutes, which is actually like 10% of the total playtime, because these RPG Maker timers are just useless. They don't work at all. Right, so then. Got some more talking to do, folks, so get ready for some Scottishness.
Welcome to this place that shows things. You'll be impressed at all of the stuff we've brought this year to show you. They fire things are here to show off they trees. What has plant psychics made that didn't get burnt? Cost a lot of money to make, mind, but if you put them in between the trees that are normal trees, there's less forest fires, like. Aye. It's pretty daft to think that because forests didn't burn down naturally, the ecosystems can't recover themselves proper and natural, like, but what do they ponces know that say stuff like that, eh? Didn't you see this stuff much, mate? I managed to get myself a fancy options menu for the Designy Stuff conference, for that Equal Opportunities event last year, like. That Equal Opportunities Designy Stuff event last year, like. It makes the game do what you want it to, only you've actually got barely any choices at all. You want me to explain how it works, mate? No, I didn't think so, mate. Alright, mate. Hey, all your base are belong to us, mate. You must like that first game what came before this one, so listen to some of the totally tubular sounds of the 70s. Billy G. Isn't that a great tune, mate? I couldn't care less about this. As a musically inclined person, I am most upset. I'm quite upset. I consider your young people's music far beneath me. So ponce off. So get lost. I've figured out how to write stuff down. Want me to save your game? Want me to shove your psychic poncy brainwaves into this piece of paper you like? Or at least it might as well be paper. It's just a technicality at this point. Oh, you want me to say this now? What do you want me to explain for you? With this, right, your windies are going to be showing people in the real world what you think you're like yourself, you egotistical pods. The way fights work will be a wee bit different with these ones, like. The guy what created this game is most intelligent, and the stuff he's learned is going to be demonstrated here. Like how not to spell the word magnificence. He'll make it clear to you how some stuff in this game works, like. Och aye, he will. Nae bother at all. You can rest assured. You're going to see some statistical stuff about the game. Why don't you compare it to your friends and perform a bunch of poncy statistical operations on it for no reason? If you think you don't have what it takes to play this game without hints, then you can set it to easy. But you'd have to be a bit of a dafty to do that. I'm going to have to do that. Alright, mate? I like drugs, and the group what I'm part of like is making fancy drugs that make people feel good about themselves, and they're no addicted to them anymore. No addicted to them, like. I'm highly interested in old artwork. Would you like me to describe some random people? This fine fella created this game. He made us, like, so you'd better have some respect, you know what I'm saying? He won some strangely named prize, like, for creating games with an illegally translated game-making system. This Russian ponce went and illegally translated the system what got used to make that game, what that guy won an award for making games we like. I don't even have a clue what this guy is. I couldn't tell you. Crank your shafties to that tree over there, like. Nobody used the special tree growing thing that we invented on it, and so the other tree grew faster. Aye, I'm referring to the one down in the bottom left there, by the way, in case you couldn't obviously tell. Aye, isn't that impressive? It grew so fast it even grew a different shade of green and into a completely different type of tree. No bad at all what they've been doing with these things you can see at this special event. I really like that one that gives you the I really like that one that lets you know what plants are saying, because plants talk, like. This here's the bit where the musician types are going to be playing some tunes later on. This tiny little cramped room is where we're going to be doing that, like. I'd better no have that stock RPG Maker text box symbol appearing, like. Och aye, welcome to the place for spiritual contemplation stuff, like, aye. However, if you attempt to actually contemplate anything spiritual like, you can ponce off!
Man, have we covered the ground floor, first floor, excuse me, yet? I think we've talked to just about everybody that is worth talking to. Time to save the game.
I use a test subject, like. By the way, that kid you've got with you, by the way, your son over there is most nice. I wouldn't mind getting to know him better. You go downstairs there, better watch your step, mate, because there's a bunch of ponces fighting each other in this special plant event, because why not?
Battle methodology, something.
Alright, so listen to me, right, mate? If you imagine fighting as a set of scales, like, where you got weights on both sides, aye, and the two sides are people fighting, then when one of the sides is attacking, weights get taken off their thing, and when people are defending, weights gets added on. basically, it's no much good to be attacking or defending too much. You got to do both if you want to win. You ponces trying to use your psychic powers, you're going to tire yourself out with fatigue, which is not magic points, because why would it be? If you want that psychic stuff to become actual real stuff, like using your powers, you're going to have to use fatigue. You're going to fatigue yourself, wee man. You create a field of informational content what characterises your cooperation. And that informative stuff makes things not work so well. Basically what I'm trying to say is that this game's Ponzi battle system, if you use your skill too much, like you get fatigued all the time, you get fatigued, you get tired, you get fatigued for doing anything. But if you do the same thing too much, you get even more fatigued than you if you do the same thing too much, it fatigues you even more. You'd better watch for the status effects in this game, because they're not to be messed with. You'll have a less than glorious conclusion to your life. You'll die in a less than glorious way. I'm not going to listen to you, Mr. Statistics, mate. Fine then. Do you really want to hear me describing all these complicated status ailments? This is going to be the most boring thing in the whole game. I'm no, that does it. Even I've got standards. I'm not going to describe all this stuff. Oh man, abandoning me at the last minute there, Team Sponkel Voice Actors Guild. Fine, so I'm going to have to carry this for a while. Well, oh, I just noticed that guy up there is blocking the stairs. Oh goodies, well done. No? Good, right, so, aye. You might have noticed so far, viewers, some of the... Anyway, we haven't been playing this game long, viewers. I mean, we've only just talked... All we've done so far is talk to a few people, but you've most likely already noticed one of the more striking aspects of Phylomortis II. Yes, that's right. That striking aspect is indeed that Fred the Skeleton from Bob's Big Adventure is over on the far right there.
Hey, Mr. X! You said I'd be gone. You said I wouldn't be around for long, but just look at me. I'm back.
Yeah, sure are, Fred. So how has it been?
Not bad at all, thanks for asking, man.
Phylomortis II was, I believe, quite a notorious game in its day. It was certainly well known, but also not very liked, I think, but also caused a bit of a stir because of the real conspicuous aspect of this game is the extremely flowery, sophisticated text. People just can't say anything in this game without using a really fancy word to describe a simple thing, or piling or throwing tons of scientific jargon at you. But good thing I got the Team Sponkel Voice Actors Guild to translate what people are saying into intelligible words.
That's a laugh and a half as well, isn't it?
But anyway, while all these tutorials are playing, I have some time to discuss this game. Phylomortis II is the sequel to Phylomortis I, which you might be wondering why I've not done that first. Well, there is an excellent arbitrary reason for this that I will get to eventually. But for now, suffice it to say, you don't particularly need to know anything about the first game, except that at the end of it, apparently, a big event happened that made everyone transform into animals. And that's pretty much it. The version I am playing is not the first one that was released. This is in fact a later updated one that I didn't even know existed until literally I came around to recording this. It is... What's special about this version? Well, I think there's a few changes. I don't remember that for mature audiences only label for one thing, but more critically, the folder name is CBS version. If that means nothing to you, well, CBS was the buzzword that you got used in the RPG Maker things, RPG Maker world, to mean custom battle system. What that meant was that instead of using the means of battle and things that had been programmed into RPG Maker 2000, the person that made their game had decided to make their own, completely separate, programmed entirely with maps and events and these little sprites that we're seeing toddling about here. And that is what the good advocate decided to do with this version, to some extent. We get to see that battle system before too long. You'll be pleased to know, yes, as much as this game might feel so far like it's nothing but talking to a cross between William Shakespeare and Albert Einstein 1,000 times, there is more to this game than that. It is in fact a game. I mean, as this combat training room, which is in the Botanical Symposium, or as the RPG Maker Voice Actors Guild guy likes to say, Special Plants event. By the way, that the Team Sponkel Voice Actors Guild, by the way, decided that because the language was so impenetrable in this game, they were going to translate it for all of you plebs out there that can't grasp the magnificence of this game's dialogue. Although, hey, Team Sponkel Voice Actors Guild, if you're there, whoever that guy is that's talking, I don't think I've heard your voice before. Are you new to the team?
I'm actually the work experience boy. I'm only here for a week, but the rest of the Team Sponkel Voice Actors Guild decided to hand over this game to me. They thought I had what it takes. They thought I would do a fine job like doing the voice work and translation for the whole of Phylomortis II. So they must have a lot of faith in me. They said they were too busy.
Oh, that's great. Pleasure to meet you, work experience boy. What's your name?
My name's Keith Anguson. I'm no the brightest boy. I didn't pass any of my standard grades last year.
You mean O-levels?
Aye, I meant O-levels.
You mean SATs?
Aye, that's what I meant to say, SATs. Skill, but I'm sure I could still scrape together to get a decent translation in this flowery Shakespeare-style text.
Ah, well, you're doing a good job of it so far, Keith.
Thanks, Mr. X. I appreciate that.
Right, well, Keith, we'll carry on the good work. And now, let us continue talking to random people. Alright, let's go up to the next floor. Botanical Symposium 2F. Very important distinction to be made there. That required an extra text box.
They lot what didn't like psychics are complaining about it outside and making a noise. Just as well as barely any of them, they just talk loud. Nobody listens to them. Otherwise the planet would be like it was in the past. Tomorrow. Welcome to my overly fancily named shop. Dinna fret yourself, mind. Ethan, all the money I make for selling stuff to you ponces is going to be going to charity, like. Anybody what got affected by the Phylomortis gets good medical attention. Aye, I'll have a look at some of that. What's this? I can't afford that cosmograph. It's worthless anyway. I've got 200 FT. Why would I pay 250 or whatever that fancy symbol is to get 25 of them back? You can pawn off with your overpriced nonsense.
Hanson's got a serious problem with bad deals because he shops at Salvage World.
I'm an overquoted line for some poncy mid-1990s movie about some ship that crashed. Oh, I didn't mean you to see me talking that garbage though. Us ponces take drugs. The good stuff what it does for your health more than offsets the bad stuff what the media in the countries what didn't have this political system they offer this game likes say about it. I'm going to be setting up an I Like Drugs group after that ponce up there stops talking. If you come and talk to me at that point, I'll tell you all about how good it is to grow drugs. And how much money you make off it. Look, I'm a bit bashful at present. Look at my hair, it's pink. These stupid hair gels, those what are good for the environment, are rubbish. They're bad. You'd better have had prune juice for breakfast, you poncy musician. 80% of all poncy psychics think that prune juice is good. Scientists for the government's psychic society have even said so themselves. It lets your brain tune in better with that poncy psychic dimension like. I've been mutating carrots so that they're better than they were before. That indeed is good. It might stop carrots and other vegetables from getting illnesses. That is easily the most interesting thing anyone's said so far. That definitely makes your entire life worthwhile. These trees are too good to be true. I mean, this is the special plant event, for goodness sake. Surely they could have got some real trees instead of these plastic fakes to demonstrate how good these psychics are and keep in with how extravagant this building is in the first place. That woman was right, these trees aren't normal. But the curious thing, the roots underground are getting a bunch of pipes shoved into them that are putting water inside them, inside their cells that are inside their bodies. So we didn't lose any of the water, and the plants continue to be the best, and nae ponces need to sit there spraying them with hoses. Oh wait, so there is a courtyard after all. It's just a bloomin' patch of grass. Aye, great work, guys. We made there's some great stuff in this pile of garbage. What these stuck-up pond psychics think are just things you use to keep everything the same and good and proper like. But watch yourself, that rifty-tufty Ned over there doesn't catch you stealing the stuff you're rightfully entitled to for this pile of pots. Oh, some stuff to find in the pots. This is where we keep our things you need today stuff at this plants event. Please have some respect for it. What, you want to know what I am? Oh, didn't be afeard. I got involved with that Phylomortis, so I'm a bit stupider now, but, well, I can breathe metal shrapnel. Isn't that nice? Charles Darwin himself would be proud. What, you want to know how that helps me to keep an eye on a bunch of cardboard boxes? Well, can also notice bad things about to happen. So you'd better watch yourself, or I'm going to breathe metal shrapnel on you. Aye, well, you didn't have to worry about anything. I am not going to steal anything. Except that, which I stole while you were standing right next to me and you didn't even notice. So nice job of that, mate. Besides, I'm level 20, I can handle your metal shrapnel nae bother like. Well, maybe I should be watching out for my son Lehine though. Sorry about that, Lehine, but at least we got away with it. Didn't even have to pay for the poncy cosmographs in that fancy emporium. Aye, that's all that matters, Aronson. Most nice. Look at these tickets I got to go and see some poncy performance group with a fancy name. Go for someone what cuts your heads off, and it only cost 1,000. 1,000 of they poncy symbols. 1,000 or whatever that is. They can move about like. They'd better catch on that I like them. They might help me with moving things for a distance using my mind. Alright, 50 of they things. And what's this?
Oh, and now we come to something very special indeed about Phylomortis II. I just got an item out of that treasure chest, but you know me, viewers, always check the chests twice. So let's check that chest twice and see if something happens. And your eyes are not deceiving you. For checking the chest twice, Phylomortis II is possibly the only RPG I know. I mentioned in the past that I can only think of maybe one or two RPGs that reward you for checking the chests twice. Well, on reflection, Phylomortis II might be the only RPG I've ever played that rewards you for checking the chests twice. Every single treasure chest in this game gives you a unique, overly complicated message if you check it once you've already opened it. And if you think I'm not going to show off every last one of them, then you don't know me very well. Now, I wonder if there was anybody else, except for me, an RPG advocate, that knows about this. Most likely not.
You might want to check your heads fastened properly next time you open one of these chests, mate, because it seems to have lost your memory that you already opened it, you pods. I go to the top. spending 500 of those things to sleep here at this special plant event, and when I get here, what comes to say hello to me? A bloomin' does the job and nae mere wood in bed. I'm feeling like punching that con man that gave me the impression that this outrageous place to sleep good enough for psychics. Welcome to the place to sleep. Do you want to sleep in the middle of the day right now? Well, go ahead and do it. You pasty primrosed pods. I should probably be getting over to my lecture, but I'll still just talk to the rest of these people now. What is it that thinks that your spells didn't have anything to do with people fancying each other? No, you went right daft for me as soon as you walked in, didn't you? Well, I didn't ken how to break this to you, madam, but well, it's better than some cheesy chat-up line. But you're hopeless at this stuff, aren't you? We all like the food what they made for us as a starter at this place. The best one's got to be the French pancakes for Prius. Taste nice, but they're made for a poisonous combination, some random animal's meat, and the less than pleasant stuff that comes out of certain other things. What are you looking at me like that for, you dafty? What do you think I am, the Duke of Buccleuch? Shut your face till you've eaten it, you pods! Billy Mays! What kind of psychic equipment makes that waterfall work? The physics lot must have done some serious psychic upgrades since the last time. Oh, you're fancying me now, are you? Well, actually, I just wanted to try saying one of the other things. Aye, I might have guessed. Well, why don't you come to my house later on? A fair distance from Minive, like, after the plant event, then we can put our different smells in the same place without worrying about it, like. Aye, we'll also put some other stuff in the same place, like the groceries into the fridge. Oh, so you just didn't like talking to people, eh? Well, that makes me pleased. Because if you're at one of the poncy child sport events with the egg and spoon race and all that, they're great at the sack race. I've done it before. Is the sack race, are those things even outside of Britain? Is the egg and spoon race and the sack race something that you Americans have any idea what it is? Or does that just sound like a ridiculously stupid, stuffy British thing? Like all British things are. Alright, if that's true, I'll tell you, the sack race is where a child gets in a sack, gets in a big brown sack thing and jumps to a finish line to win a race. And then the other one is the egg and spoon race, is when a bunch of children line up with an egg, each one's got a spoon and there's an egg in the spoon, and they got to run along with the spoon without the egg falling off the spoon. I don't know why these events exist. I don't know why it's only children that get to play them for some strange reason. I guess, on careful, studious reflection, it was trying to teach children skills like patience, walking along with the egg and not letting it fall off, so they got to walk slowly, and skills like jumping along in a big brown sack. Good work, education system. I think we've finally just about finished talking to people. It's about time, Dad. Now can we please get this over with already? Ah, Aronson, I was expecting you, my old pal. Right, now you can start talking about your music. Wanna start now? There's nothing that would please me more. Alright, you lot, listen to me while I'm facing sideways. This is Papal Representative Aronson for that Cyprian Press what's got a prince. Hi everyone, pleased to see you. Now, my pulling crops out of the ground tune is the most recent thing I've done to try and get more crops coming out of the ground, like what's no been happening recently. Things have been getting worse. All across the planet. So this psychic tune, like, does stuff to the soil what you'd normally need to use pesticides today, as in stuff that kills stuff that eats plants. Also, after years of taking the crops out, shoving them somewhere else, like, and also after years of growing the crops in a different order for what you grew them before, like, for switching the places where you put each type of crop each year. If you must know the technicalities of this, it makes it faster for the adenosine triphosphate, which is a poncy chemistry word for basically energy, causes that lot to get created faster. And then, oh man, the screen went black. I'm sorry, Aronson, but I just couldn't take any more of that. Well, that's the end of my talk. You'd better have enjoyed it. Hopefully you enjoyed it and learned something from it. Right, now, thanks for that, Aronson. Now, you should head downstairs and talk to the people what are going to be playing music later. They'll be so excited to talk to someone that's made a song about plants! Hey, you're a musician yourself, aren't you? You got that right. I can't wait to talk to them. Aye, I know what you're thinking, Dad. You're going to try and get me one of the singers, aren't you? Och, count me out. I'll just sit in the corner there and try and not think about plants. Well, Lehine, I hope that you learned a thing or two about crop rotation in the 14th century. 'Cause I'll tell you who's considerably widespread in it now. Me! With my singing advice. All you got to do is sing to your crops and they'll grow just nice and dandy like. Aye, well, Father, you probably could have explained that in less than 3 hours with that lecture. Man, I thought it was never going to end. Try talking to that tree over there. We got some early results out of our studies on how plants talk. I wouldn't say that you can hear the plant talking that clearly, like, but well, it's something. We're still making this system what translates its speech better, like, each day. With any luck, we'll have plants talking in an intelligible way by the next plant festival. Really? Well, we're going to have to come back next year. Oh, Dad, please, can we no just skip the plant festival for 1 year? Well, can't really read that, but it's saying the water roots too dry, so basically this tree needs some water. Aye, that's right. Or does the tree need water? But we just watered it 2 hours ago. What a bloomin' greedy guts tree! Well, that's just the sort of stuff that happens in life. I'm really surprised that I didn't use that French version of that expression, c'est la vie, 'cause that's just the kind of thing that would happen in this game. I've not talked to that cat yet either. Let's get over that cat once. Right, cat? Hey, mate, put your hand on me for no reason. Well, okay, there we go. Not going to say anything? I guess you must have evolved for that Phylomortis. Mind ye, despite all the fuss this game's made about the Phylomortis, I've not seen all that many people what have evolved. I've not seen many people what have transformed, like. Most of these people are humans. For that matter, all of us party members are humans. And all the party members in the entire game are humans. What's that all about then, eh? Talk about racist, man. Hey Dad, what you talking about? In case you hadn't noticed, I'm wearing a robe that's made of moss. I might as well be the creature for the Black Lagoon at this point. I thought it would look good on you, son. If you didn't like my choice in claves, all you got to do is tell me. Dad, you can't resist buying me clays. Every time we go to Marks and Spencer's, you just keep on buying. Hi. Let me tell you, there's barely anybody in the world that likes you more than me. In fact, there's nothing would please me more than for you to talk about what you've been doing in the last year about plants. Right, mates, we're in the best place we could be. It's time to start doing what we got told today. Hey Dad, what are those knights holding in their hands? They got symbols that suggest that they're harmful to living things. This doesn't look right at all, son. Right, you guards, do your jobs. Attack that lot over there. They shouldn't be here. Oh, Dad, what have you got us into now? You might be level 20, but in case you haven't noticed, I'm in a less than good position to be fighting blooming knights in armour. You've got nothing to worry about, son. Me and my guards are going to protect you just fine. Hey, for that matter, I just noticed you stupid guards have got like 30% of my health. Why'd I even bother hiring you? I can take these twerps out myself. Oh, this is the brand new battle system for this game, by the way. Look at all of that commands, look at all that fancy stuff. Heroes on the right there, enemies on the left. We've got to attack, just like in the normal battle system. We can attack and use skills and use items, and defend and run away, just like in the normal battle system. But there is one big difference with this battle system that makes its existence worthwhile, I guess. You can do a move as many times as you want with a character. Look at that Connor there. Connor just attacking and attacking away. But what's this? Each time he attacks, he does less damage. Well, look at that bar. See that red bar on the right of his name down there? That's his fatigue bar, and we are fatiguing him like nobody's business by constantly attacking all the time. Although man, despite the fact that our guards are pretty tough, and so's Aronson, we're not taking out even one of these knights. What gives? Oh, man, this is bad. We might get slammed at this point. Especially Lehine. Man, Lehine, you're on your last hit. Man, Lehine, you're on your last bit of health. Oh no! If only this battle system would let me defend my own son. But it winnie. What's that? What was that stuff? Hey, I've not spoken at all so far, but I'm going to tell you now that I can't feel my own arms, and my head's going to blow up like... Oh, I feel the same way. Dad, what are you talking about? What? I feel just fine. Hey you! Hey you kid! Get over here! What? What's that? Who's talking in a manner that's not quite appropriate for the severity of this situation? Shut your face and follow me! Or you're going to be slammed like the rest of them! Aye, well, I guess you got a point there. Right, Dad, I'm off. Happy afterlife. Oh, but I'll get revenge on them at some point, even though I actually won't. Spoilers. Well, there they all go dying. I could get down that stairs right now, like, but I'll just stand here and watch while I'm risking my own life in the process, despite the fact I just ran away to escape and leave my poor father to die. So you're the one that told me to come down here, madam. What's going on here then? Well, most likely I would have died if you hadn't, so thanks for that. Oh, but it did kill my father and his guards. Aye, well, I felt that it was the right thing for me today to at least save someone up at the special planned event, although there was just nae time to do any more but save you before the plant plods spread about that caused the poison. What these soldiers put up there. Unfortunately, there was just too many of them at the central place what the problem was spreading from. I could have tried and saved Mary, but well, aye, again, you were too close to the centre. Well, thanks, but how did you manage to save me? I didn't have the time to explain that now. In case you hadn't noticed, there's a bunch of knights in shining armour up there that I can't wait to slam all of us. And they're going to keep their virus going all over the place. In fact, they might even, if they find out we just escaped, they might chase us to the very ends of the earth itself, what has ends. Right, I understand. I'm going to put my faith in you for no reason. At least till we get out of here. Oh, but wait, I didn't ken what your name is. Tell me your name. My name's Elsa. Right, well, I'm Lehine. Lehine, what kind of poncy name is that? Oh, shut your face. Alright, there's a place up there in these tunnels that's safe, but the rest of the tunnel is not safe. You can go there until that stuff upstairs stops. It's not that far. Great, well, we'll have no trouble getting there. Well, actually, except we will, because there's really difficult monsters. Oh, now you tell me. And what's this?
Hello, I'm RPG Advocate. I'll be dropping by from time to time.
Hey, hang
At
on.
the moment, I'm here to explain how
Keith, that's clearly not your
skills
voice.
required for
I thought you were the only one
RPG
doing this game.
Wiz.
Would you like to hear
Ah, Wiz.
this?
But-
Elsa has 3 personalities.
No, there's none of the other Team Sponkel though here.
So what's this?
Time.
Oh, hang on.
You will want to
Oh,
expose
I think the
the
RPG
container
Advocate
active
himself has
personality
personally
as
come
more
along and voiced his
personality
own lines.
traits unlock
Oh,
more
wow.
engrams
Really?
skills.
Well,
Before to
may I
speak
say,
with
what
many
an
people
honour
as
it is,
possible, and even
Mr.
attempt
Advocate,
some
sir.
outrageous
Well, I'm most
exploits,
flattered.
as you never know
I'm
what
quite
will trigger
quite
a change.
flattered indeed that you
know
that
when
you
Elsa's active personality
deigned to
changes
come
with
down
certain
to this
sound-flat
stupid,
combinations
irreverent
are seen and heard.
RPG Maker commentary series
Sound in this
just to do the voice work for your own lines in the game.
Watch out! The sound signifies the emergence of Elsa's rebellious personality. You can check the active personality by taking a look at the status screen. The personality will be next to Elsa's name. And that's it! I hope you'll enjoy dealing with Elsa's mood swings. I'm no misogynist, but she seriously tried my patience.
Right, that's Elsa joined us, and now we finally have control.
Auntie, you think I'm some kind of idiot? I'm not going back
I'll
up the
return again
stairs.
later. Happy gaming!
Finally, we've got, well, we had control before, but now we are in a dungeon. There are no twerps here that are going to talk to us for 5 hours about plants. We're going to walk about a dungeon, open treasure chests, fight monsters, kind of like a real game, huh? Yeah, took a while, didn't it? But anyway, aye, so here's the... But that's, we're in a dungeon, how are we going to save our game? Well, just toddle over to the left, that's a save crystal. And, well, we can save our game. We can also heal ourselves. We can also fully restore a party with crystalline tetrahedrons. 4-sided crystals, basically. Isn't that nice? And we get a custom menu to show us that too. All the little things like that that RPG Maker games have so much effort put into them to do, you just take for granted. Unfortunately though, Phylomortis II wastes no time in throwing us into an unreasonable situation, because you can't go back up the stairs, we have no free healing at this point, we just got that save crystal, and we got 3 crystalline tetrahedrons that restore us to full. After that we're out of them completely, and we got to navigate through this entire dungeon before we can go back to any place that's safe. So thanks game, that sure is nice. Not only that, but we've been thrust into this battle system. We've been thrust into this custom battle system with pretty much next to nothing in way of a clear explanation. Because just try making sense of what the people in the combat hall said. All you really need to know though is that the only real unusual thing to this battle system is the fatigue system. Basically, you can take as many turns as you want with a character until you choose to end the turns between them all. It's just that the more stuff you do with them, the more fatigued they get. That blue bar down there gets down, then if it goes all the way down, it turns red and starts filling back up again red. The red stuff is bad and the blue stuff is good. That's all you need to know. So don't attack too much or you'll become really weak and get destroyed, like Lehain is here. Oh yeah, also, as long as the bar's red, that character cannot act at all until it's blue again. It sounds like an interesting system. Unfortunately, it's extremely unbalanced. It takes no time at all for the fatigue to get really down far to the red, and it takes ages for you to defend and wait for it to build up slowly. But hey, we managed to beat our first battle, and we are both nearly completely dead, and Elsa's poisoned. So we could either use up like half of our healing items, or we could use one of these free crystalline whatevers. I think the more sensible, we can use our Mossy Balm, which heals like maybe 10% of our, maybe 5% of our health, and we've got what, 12 uses of it, and we've got 13 uses of the thing. So great stuff. I think the smarter thing to do here is to just reload the game from the start. Is to just reload the game from the save crystal and desperately try to survive our way through this dungeon. But we can do that next time, because I think I'm going to take a break for now. So, cheerio.